I did indicate I had one additional topic I'd like to close with. This would have to do with the, we call it the East Side City Water Supply experienced short disruption, loss of water pressure on the east side of the community. There was a loss of water pressure on August 28th, which triggered a water boil advisory for a portion of Andover. The thing is these don't happen very often, but what I can say is within 24 hours, the Minnesota Department of Health did authorize the ending of the advisory to get us back to normal. So while it was something bad, something positive was that pretty much in record time, returning it back to normal is something that we did attempt to accomplish. Investigations showed that the root of the problem was a temporary wireless connection, communication system that was used at Tower 2. A lot of that is the temporary wireless connection was put in place through the rehab process at Tower 2. So that's why something like that was put into place while the tower was painted and reconditioned. The city utilities department is continuing to work on to complete the full upgrade of the system that was currently in place, which will include multiple ways of communication with the tower and also back to the central area, which triggers the wells and the water treatment plant. The temporary communication system stopped transmitting data to what we call our SCADA system. It's a supervisory control and data acquisition system. The best we could tell at this point in time, it stopped at about 1:30 a.m. on August 28th, and this caused pressure to drop on the east side of town at approximately 5 a.m. as water draw through that time frame had taken place in the community, and it was with the non-communication going on, it wasn't triggering the pumping of the water to fill the tower. This caused the pressure to drop on the east side of town. The system did generate an alarm. Utility staff did activate the water treatment plant pumps to restore pressure to the system and activated the wells to restore the water supply. The Minnesota Department of Health was contacted, and the duty officer did recommend a precautionary boil order to the city's east system that had lost pressure. Special note is the west system. We happen to be on two separate zones with a valve in the middle. One side is supported by Tower 1 and one side is supported by Tower 2. Tower 1 did not lose pressure, so no need for a boil advisory was needed on the west side of town. The purpose of a boil advisory is to rid the water of chloroform bacteria or other organisms that might get into the system due to the pressure loss. That could be through backflow preventer or something to that order. And really it's a precautionary factor. One item of note that I'd like to say is the free chlorine test that was done as we took well samples and provided that to the Department of Health, is we had a very adequate reading of chlorine within the system, which would identify that there was minimal risk towards contaminants entering the system because the chlorine level in the system was quite high. I should say high, it was adequate, and that's what it's supposed to be. So we had it at the right levels. So from that standpoint, it was pretty minimal that there was any risk to the system. We did gather water samples. Those were gathered throughout the system, taken to the Minnesota Department of Health, and they had indicated the water was free of contaminants. And by 9 a.m. on August 29th, the boil advisory was lifted. Through the whole process, the questions are 5 a.m. We were able to get all the word out by about 9:30, 9:45. What's happening between that time frame? First of all, 5 a.m. you're triggering, you're getting people in, you're evaluating the system, you're contacting the Minnesota Department of Health. You find out you got a problem, you call in more people, you bring those people all to the table, you put together a clear and concise message that you want to get out to the community. You make sure that that message is placed in locations, so when people go look at the places you tell them to look for, it's already there. And the phone numbers that someone is going to call, there's someone already sitting at that phone and ready to take that. We wanted to make sure that as soon as it was out there, people had someone to talk to, something to look at, and to know that we were already on the task to try and get this back to normal.